Hi guys, this is Terry from with Futures.io. First, if you're interested in donating to the Red Cross in support of the earthquake recovery in Ecuador, then please feel free to use this link. Now, it is my honor to welcome Brett and Matthew of NinjaTrader for today's webinar. They have a presentation on NinjaTrader 8 and its expanded Forex capabilities. If you have questions, you can type them in the questions box and we'll do our best to answer them during the event. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do us a favor and give us a thumbs up if you enjoy the webinar. Also, please feel free to share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. It helps us a lot. Without further delay, I'll hand it over to Brett and Matthew.
All right, thanks Terry for that introduction. So, like Terry said, today's webinar is going to be an intro to NinjaTrader 8. We're going to be doing the expanded Forex capabilities. And looks like I want to show my screen here, so bear with me 1 minute while I bring my screen up.
Looks good.
All right, great. Thanks, Terry. All right, so today's webinar, we're going to be focusing on some of the new FX stuff we've got going on in NinjaTrader 8. We've got some new interesting things going on, especially with, we've got a new window that we've created called the FX board where we're doing some interesting things by integrating ATM capability, and I'll show a little demo and talk a little bit more about that here during the webinar. The other thing we're going to be going through is the FX Pro and how it can show level 2 data for Forex and how to integrate that order entry interface into your workflow. The next thing we're going to be talking about is the new market analyzer features that we've built in NinjaTrader 8. We've actually got some interesting things with alerts that you can predefine with Market Analyzer and show you how we can kind of link that together and use that with a chart or FX Pro. We're also going to go through the expanded chart trader functionality, including one of my favorites, the ability to attach indicators to live orders, which is a new feature introduced with NinjaTrader 8 as well. So before we get into it, I do have a couple slides I need to get through. So just bear with me while I read through these slides. The risk of loss in trading can be substantial regardless of whether it is in securities, futures, contracts, or foreign exchanges. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances and financial resources. You may sustain a total loss of the funds that you deposit with your broker to establish or maintain a position in the commodities or future foreign exchange market, and you may incur losses beyond these amounts. You can learn more about these risks by inquiring with your broker directly. This presentation is brought to you by NinjaTrader LLC, a software development company which owns and supports the NinjaTrader trading platform. NinjaTrader LLC is an affiliated company to NinjaTrader Brokerage. This presentation is for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell any security, future, or foreign exchange contract. Any questions that are not related to the NinjaTrader trading platform should be sent to your brokerage firm directly. All right, so with that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about NinjaTrader 8 and really what NinjaTrader 8 is, and that is the next generation of NinjaTrader. NinjaTrader 7, which is our existing platform, we've had that, time flies, I want to say in production 5 years, something around there. And when we finished up development on NinjaTrader 7, we kind of sat down and looked at the state of hardware, technology, and where technology was really going, and really kind of made the hard decision to kind of start over and really rebuild a new architecture that would support us for our next 10 years of development. And so we made the decision to go ahead and do that with NinjaTrader 8. NinjaTrader 8 truly is a next generation platform. It will take full advantage of modern PC hardware. What I mean by that is we are fully multi-threaded within NinjaTrader, so we will take advantage of, as computers are going more and more cores over speed, Moore's Law, the software developers have really had to kind of adopt that and work within that confines. And we've done that with NinjaTrader 8 as well. We've also included 500 user-driven enhancements with the product. I'll be talking a little bit about those. We have a link about all the things that we've added in the product. These are really things that we're actually pretty lucky. We've got an active user base in our forums and through our platform support at NinjaTrader.com email address that we work with on a daily basis to really identify what features our customers are really looking for. And we track every single thing that comes through and kind of rate that and what gives us the most bang for the buck and add those things into the product. And so we've had the ability to do a lot of that with NinjaTrader 8. It's just a lot of quality of life enhancements, some major features, new windows. So I'd like to go through and run through a few of those today. The next thing about NinjaTrader 8 is that we've really kind of favored evolution over revolution. So what that means is that our existing NinjaTrader users are going to feel right at home. You're going to have the same familiar window feel. You're going to have the control center. You're going to be able to open new windows just like you could with NinjaTrader 7. You're really going to feel at home. It's just going to feel like an evolution over NinjaTrader 7 once you get into NinjaTrader 8. The really next thing, and really, in my view, one of the most powerful things about NinjaTrader 8 is that we've expanded NinjaScript support and really kind of garner to have what's called a complete development framework, where you have the capability now to enhance the product to build basically anything. We've really kind of opened it up to be able to even build what we call a generic add-on, which is started when the application starts. And you can actually create new windows and new interfaces and things like that, which our user base is already doing and using with NinjaTrader 7, but you got to add an indicator to a chart or a strategy to a chart to kind of get it started. What we did is just kind of sit down and said, we want to be able to adopt this growing community and expand our NinjaScript support even further. And so that's one of the things that I'm most excited about with NinjaTrader 8, and I'm excited to see what the community really does with it. And like I said earlier, this is really kind of the next generation NinjaTrader that's built to really take us our next 10 years, and that's the way we're looking at it. We're currently in our 11th beta release. We've been making good progress through beta, getting to the point to where we feel more comfortable doing more webinars about it as we get closer to being able to do a production release. We're going to definitely take our time and make sure that we get it right. We take our responsibility to build trading software very seriously and want to make sure that we get it right. So we'll take as much time through beta as we need to get to a stable product. With that being said, we are making good progress there and things are looking well. So for those of you that maybe this is your first time coming into a NinjaTrader 8 webinar, or maybe this is your first time looking at NinjaTrader, maybe you looked at NinjaTrader in the past and wanted to take a new look at what's coming out with NinjaTrader 8, you can actually download the open beta right on our website for free. That's www.ninjatrader.com, and the link is there in the slide. You can also join us on our NinjaTrader beta forums, which is located at ninjatrader.com/support/forum, where we kind of foster a beta community there and are making good progress working through feedback, suggestions, and even bug reports that we come across. And that's where our community kind of lives there for the NinjaTrader 8 beta. All right. So what's new in NinjaTrader 8? So we're going to go through a few key things today, focusing on some of the new Forex stuff. But there's going to be a lot more than we're going to be able to fit into today's webinar. So I've included this link here. It's ninjatrader.com, what's new NinjaTrader 8. And there you'll be able to see we've kind of put together a full page of all the new features that you can kind of check out and go from there. All right, so I think that's the last slide. So let's go ahead and drop out of there and get right into the product. All right, so I've got a NinjaTrader 8 workspace set up here where I'm going to go through and demo some of the new features in the product specific to Forex. One thing you're going to notice right out of the bat, and I'm going to start with the new UI kind of design for those of you that maybe this is your first time taking a look at NinjaTrader 8. For those of you that have seen some of our past NinjaTrader webinars, this will be kind of redundant for you, but with NinjaTrader 8, we've kind of adopted tabbed interfaces and new kind of slick UI design. And so what I mean by that is we've got our existing workspace here where you can see I've got a control center in the top left-hand corner of the screen here. And the control center was tabbed in NinjaTrader 7, so nothing new there. But you can see that we kind of have tabs on all of our windows here. So I've got it on my FX board, I've got it on my chart, I've got it on my FX Pro, and I've got it on my market analyzer here. And these are all windows that I've created by, when you kind of launch into a fresh install in NinjaTrader, you're going to see the control center right out of the gate. And up here we've got the new menu where we can go ahead and create various windows and displays. I've picked out a few here for demonstration purposes. And once we go ahead and open those windows, you can configure a workspace, which I have saved here under workspace. This is my default Forex workspace. And so every time that I restart NinjaTrader, I'm going to see this view of NinjaTrader, and so I can configure my windows across multiple monitors, same as I could with NinjaTrader 7. Should feel, again, this is evolution over revolution, so most everything from NinjaTrader 7 is going to feel familiar, especially if you're a NinjaTrader 7 user. So with FX, the most notable things is we've made some major improvements with a new window in FX Board and FX Pro, which I'll kind of do an overview of now. On top of that, though, we've made a lot of quality of life improvements for Forex traders. And really this comes down to being able to accurately select quantity sizes of orders, being able to plot the bid and ask on charts, being able to quickly get quantities in your order quantity pickers. These are things that are just small quality of life things that we've added to the product, and I'll go through and show you kind of what we've done. So first things first, let's go over the FX board. The FX board is going to be located in the bottom left-hand side of my screen here. And the FX board, if you're in the Forex industry, or just maybe you're in futures and maybe thinking about maybe Forex might be something right for you, the FX board is kind of a standard in the FX industry. It seems any product that kind of targets FX in general has got a board of some sort. And so when we really wanted to increase our FX support in the product, that was the first direction we looked. And we didn't want to just make any old FX board. What we wanted to do is sit down and say, you know, what can we do to kind of spice up the FX board? How can we innovate? How can we bring something into the NinjaTrader product that will be reflective of what we do? And when I think about that, I think of ATM strategies. And so an FX board is a board of quotes. It's similar to a market analyzer, which for those of you NinjaTrader 7 users will know the market analyzer right here off the top of your head. Most of you will have that in your workspace. And you're able to see the FX quotes in a layout that is more intuitive for the FX trader. So you've got the handle, the pip, and then the sub-pip displayed here. The pip being the most valuable number, therefore it is the biggest. And on top of this display that's kind of optimized for FX trader, it's also a trading interface. And so you'll notice that on each one of these tiles that we call them, for each one of these instruments, we've got the buy and sell buttons here. And as I hover over it, it says place a buy market order, place a sell market order. And so what you can actually do is just left click on that tile there, and you'll be able to place an order right away. And you'll see this in FX boards in general. One of the things that we've decided to add is the ability to use ATM strategies. These are advanced trade management. For those of you that know NinjaTrader or use NinjaTrader, you know what that is by the back of your hand. That's the ability to submit profit targets and stop loss orders right on the entry order, or I should say fill of the entry order. And we've got an ATM selector on each one of these tiles, so you can kind of configure an ATM as to what instrument you're going to be trading. And up here in the very top left-hand corner, you're going to see a drop-down here, which is the account drop-down. So as I select an account SIM 101 here, I'll go ahead and use Australian US dollar here. And if I go ahead and click buy here, I'm going to go ahead and buy into the market. As you can see here, I'm showing a position in my control center. I went in with 10K long and sitting at 72.285. So that's all displayed within the FX board here as well. So I can see my 10K amount here. I can see my pip profit level here. I have the close button here, which closes the position. I'll do that here in just a second. I've got the bid price, or I've got the ask price here, and I've got the bid price here, and then I've got the spread in the center here. And you're going to see that with all the tiles here. And then down here in the middle, I've got a quantity selector, which I'll come back to here in a second. And then down here at the very bottom, I've got an ATM strategy selector combo box. This is kind of a special thing, and when you come in here and click on this thing, you've got the ability to set an ATM strategy. You can create a new one by selecting custom, which I'll go ahead and do now. And as I select custom, I've got the ability to set up an ATM strategy. Now, those of you that have used NinjaTrader 7 in the past are familiar with ATM strategies. You're familiar that you can submit up to 3 profit targets and stop losses, and that you can use it on futures, point mode, etc., ticks and points, and percent and currency. But the interesting thing is that we've added some new parameter types here to ATMs, which we've got what's called pips mode here, which is the most important here for Forex traders. So one of the kind of aggravations with trading Forex in NinjaTrader 7 is that you've got to think in ticks. And with Forex, you really think in pips. And for those of you that may be kind of new to the Forex world, you know, what's the difference? Okay, so a pip is basically 10 ticks. Okay, so with Forex, you've got the sub-pip value here, which let me close out of this. So any change, you've got sub-pip, which is the 6 here in the bottom right-hand corner, and you've got the pip, which is 26 here. And then you've got the handle, 0.72. So a tick would be any change in the sub-pip here. So it went down from 6 to 5. That's a tick. That's a change in tick. A pip would be a change in the pip handle here from 26 to 27, or 27 to 28, which is exactly 10 ticks. So in NinjaTrader 7, when you wanted to place a stop at, like, say, you know, 25 even, or something like that, you would have to actually do the math in your head and figure out how many ticks that would be. With NinjaTrader 8, we've actually added the pips mode. In the majority of all of our displays, you're going to see we're showing P&L and pips. That's new as well to NinjaTrader 8. So as I create an ATM strategy, I just have to think in terms of pips. And so if I want to throw, in this case, if I wanted to throw a stop down here at 25, I would just show a stop loss here, and this would be offsetted by my fill price. So if I wanted to be, let's say, and I can go in here and type a number here, let's say 10 pips below whatever I get filled at, this is what this is saying. And it's defaulted to pips here since I'm in the FX board. If I was in a futures trading like a Superdome or something like that, then it would default to ticks. So pips here, brand new to NinjaTrader 8. Again, just a convenience feature that makes it easier to do the math. So you can go ahead and plug in a stop loss and profit target. So as I enter the market with this ATM strategy, it's going to submit the stop loss 10 pips below my entry price and 10 pips above my entry price. So if I go ahead and click OK on that, and I'm going to go ahead and close this position by hitting the close button on the tile. So I've just kind of closed out of that position. And then I'm going to go ahead and click buy here to place a buy market order, which should fill me. I've got this custom ATM strategy selected. If I hover over the I, I'm going to get a tooltip here which says custom, yep, 10K lot, and I've got a 10 stop loss and a 10 tick or 10 pip target as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and click buy market here. And as soon as I do that, I now have my ATM strategy working. I can see that by the lightning bolt in this ATM strategy selector, which indicates an active ATM strategy. And I've got some interesting things going on here. So I've also got an orders grid on the bottom of this thing. And this is really no ordinary orders grid. We've done some innovative stuff here. Really just kind of try it out and see if it takes off with our user base or not. We've tried to do things here where we're grouping ATM strategies together. So you'll notice that I've got this kind of group button here where I can kind of hit this triangle to collapse and uncollapse the view there. And I've actually got two orders grouped together here under this custom ATM strategy. And I've got my amount that I'm long here, the position or average price that I'm currently long from. I've got some abilities here to do various things with my ATM strategy, including closing it. And then I've also got my stop and my target shown here, which are color-coded. Stops are red, greens are profit targets. And I've got the ability to kind of group everything together on this one instrument. So if I wanted to take another position with another ATM strategy, so let's say I already have a predefined ATM strategy here called 10 pip, which I'll go ahead and select, and then I'll go ahead and hit buy market here as well. And as I do that, I've now got two groupings here, and it's grouping all the orders for Australian dollar and Euro Swiss here. So everything's grouped together, and this actually allows you to keep things segregated. So we could have just threw an order grid in here and just kept it all kind of mushed together, and you got to kind of figure out what belongs to what instrument. But the FX board tile is really meant for trading multiple pairs at the same time, and this gives you the ability to kind of keep that all separated into their own view. And orders entry, order management on the FX board is totally optional. Some of you may use this as an order entry UI. Some of you may just want to see it for data. That's not a problem. You can actually turn off the orders grid by right-clicking anywhere in an open tile here area, and you can actually turn off what's called quick order entry. So as I uncheck that, you notice the buy buttons and sell buttons go away on the tiles, and I now can no longer buy or sell. If I click, it's just not going to do anything. It just kind of keeps you safe. And then the other thing I can do is right-click, and then I can do show orders grid, and I can disable that as well. So as I do that, I've now got more workable room, and I really turned this into a more optimized market analyzer for FX. I mean, that's really what it is. So it also enjoys all the same benefits of the market analyzer. So as I select tiles here, and I've got the H and L up here, which is high and low for the day, and as I select tiles, you'll notice that my displays change. I've got my chart. I've got a chart here, a 5-minute chart, and a bid-ask chart here. And they're linked using the instrument link feature, which is in the top right-hand corner. And an instrument link, you select this little icon in the top right-hand corner of any window that's got it, and it's got a color code here. And as I select a color code, this now becomes linked to the color red. So as I change an instrument here, it will change it on all windows which are linked to the same color red. This works with the FX board as well, so you can quickly kind of get around, quickly move from instrument to instrument, link a chart together, link a market analyzer together, and even link an FX Pro together, which is up in this top right-hand corner, which I'll start kind of mentioning a little bit about here in a few minutes. So really the FX board is really just kind of it really can be an order entry interface that in your primary order entry interface, or it can be a way to just view market data in a Forex friendly way. Now, for those of you that may want to use the FX board as a order entry interface, having the ability to submit orders is great, but it's not quite enough. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on quick order entry again, and we've done some other things on the FX board which allows us to gives us more flexibility to be able to use it as a primary order entry interface. And as I hold down Control on my keyboard here, you'll notice that the text changes from buy bid to sell ask and then just to sell buy. And so what that does is that just lets you quickly submit limit orders at either the ask or the bid price. That way you can try to just eliminate that spread difference if that's what your trading style. The other thing that we've done is in the top right hand corner there's this icon here, and as I hover over it, it says flip tile. And as I click this, it's going to flip this tile right around to the back of it, and it's just a mini little order interface. So I've got the ability to select a type of order that I want to submit: limit, market, MIT, stop market. Oh, and MIT, that's a new order type to NinjaTrader 8. Market if touched, which was demanded by some of our customers there. And so that's an interesting order type, but let's keep it simple on a limit order here. And I've got two ways to kind of get started with a price. My favorite is just to kind of click on the bid or ask prices up here. So as I click here, it quickly fills in the price of that limit order. So I've got a pre-filled price here. I can select in the price selector here. Yes, this is we call it a price selector, and we call it a price selector because it's got some interesting features. One, you can scroll up and down on your mouse wheel, which is the same you could do in NinjaTrader 7. And as I scroll, it just lets me just get that little quicker order entry that I'm looking for. I want to get down to a price that I see on the chart. I can go ahead and scroll down quicker instead of having to type it in. The other thing you can do is hold down Control, and it's actually going to do it by pip. So as I scroll down there and scroll up, you can notice that the sub-pip is remaining the same, but the pip number is changing. So as I scroll up, again, just a faster way to scroll for Forex traders and get to the price you're looking for. The other thing you can do is middle click in these fields, and as if I middle click, and as I control middle click or middle click, I'm going to get the bid or ask price filled in that field. Again, just another way I did that by just clicking on the bid or ask price, but either way works. And then I can hit the buy or sell button with my quantity here and optional ATM strategy. If I don't want to do an ATM strategy, no problem, just set that to none, and then I can hit the buy button, submit that order in the market. So I'm going to go ahead and hit close. So go ahead and get back to flat here and flip this tile back over to the other side. And so that's the FX board in a nutshell. We've got some interesting options as well for those of you that may want to play around with some of the options. If I right-click on this order entry board, I'll go to Properties, and we've got some interesting stuff here. For those of you that may want to change the size of the tiles, you can go ahead, if you've got kind of bad eyes like myself, make the tiles a little bit larger. So we've got three options on tile sizes there. We've got options for the highlight duration. This is actually an interesting one. For me, I actually prefer we've got it kind of defaulted to, this is milliseconds here, so 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So I actually prefer something down like 50 milliseconds. And so as I click apply here and move the window out of the way and just hit OK here, you'll see that just the blinking becomes faster and more aggressive. And the reason why I bring that up and why it's interesting is if you're using the flashingness of this board to get an idea of how aggressive a market's moving, reducing the highlight duration there will definitely help you with that, since it just quickens up the flashing of the board. For me, I prefer that since it helps me keep pulse. However, for others, they think that the blinking lights drive you crazy. Don't disagree. I can definitely see that argument. So as you increase the highlight duration, it will improve that. And if you go down, and if you actually don't like the functionality of the highlighting tiles, you can come in here to the colors section, and we've got all the colors are customizable, including the downtick background and foreground and uptick background and foreground. So if you prefer not to have those red and blue flashes on your board, you can come in here and just set these colors to something like transparent or something like that, and that will get rid of the flashing. We've also got some display options here. We are showing the daily high, low. These are the kind of H and L values in the tiles. You can customize that to either be none or the time of the last tick. You kind of choose what you prefer there. And that's the majority of the FX board. Now, some of you may have some questions on maybe what the FX board does. We'll get through the rest of this presentation where we're going to go through some Market Analyzer and FX Pro and really kind of a small taste and some chart stuff. But if you have any questions, I think you can go ahead and put them in the room now, and then we'll kind of go through them at the end in the Q&A session. All right, so FX Pro, top right-hand corner. FX Pro is something we had in NinjaTrader 8, or I'm sorry, NinjaTrader 7. It was a window very similar to our basic entry window, and it's really a window that's optimized for single FX instrument order entry. And one of the key optimization it has is it allows you to see level 2 data in the window, and it only lets you see that if you have a provider which supports level 2 data. Level 2 data on Forex is kind of hard to find. Reason is that as in the Forex industry, with the distributed market the way it is, it's really hard to get true volume numbers on Forex, and so having level 2 data there can be useful depending on the feed that you get it from. And in this case, I don't have any level 2 data on the NinjaTrader FXCM connection, so I'm not seeing that in my FX Pro. But what I am seeing is just I'm seeing the current ask and bid prices along with the spread, same as I see in the FX board. But I'm also seeing the kind of current volume down below, and it's just kind of showing 100K right now. And again, that's because the connection that I'm on, which is just an NinjaTrader FXCM demo connection I'm using for today's webinar, doesn't support volume data on FX. So the FX Pro window for NinjaTrader FXCM is not going to add a lot of value other than it's got a larger display instead of, if you're feeling kind of squished inside of this kind of mini order ticket window, it really kind of breezes it up. You've got some additional features as well in the FX Pro. You've got the ability to do things such as OCO or simulated orders. OCO orders, really this is a feature where you're going to OCO 2 orders together. We've got the same feature in NinjaTrader 7, and you basically just turn it on. I get a green OC in the top right-hand corner, and now when I submit 2 limit orders in the market, let's say I'm a news trader and I want to place both a buy and a sell market and get in the market based on which way it breaks out, and as soon as I get in the market I want to cancel that other order. This is what you'll use the OCO feature for. So you'll turn it on, you'll get an OCO ID assigned, you'll submit 2 orders, and those will have an OCO ID assigned. So if I go ahead and do a limit order here below the market, and then let's do buy limit order here. And so I've got my limit order pending here, and if I go to the orders tab on my control center, you'll see here I've got an OCO ID assigned. In this column it says OCO. One cancels other. And now as I submit another order, so let's say I want to go on the other side of the market by scrolling up here. Looks like I need to be above 37.6. So I'm going to hold down Control to get up there, scroll faster. All right, and then I'll do my sell order. And now I've got my 2 orders placed. And now they're just working in the market here, OCO together. As soon as one fills, the other one will fill. Don't forget, right-click, turn off that OCO order. So just some functionality that you get in addition on the FX Pro window. We've also got the ability to do simulated orders. Simulated orders, that's an interesting option. That's the ability to hold an order locally inside an NinjaTrader, so we won't actually submit it to the broker until that order actually triggers. This is more for your stop market orders or stop limit orders. And by checking that on, any stop market, stop limit order you submit will be locally simulated by NinjaTrader. We've also got the ability to cancel all orders. We've got a dedicated orders grid display, same as you would expect on the FX board as well. If I turn that on, go to show orders grid, I've got that displayed here as well. And I've got the ability to let's cancel those two orders. And you see as soon as I click the cancel on one, they both went ahead and canceled. So we've got the same features as well. We've got the ability to select account, ATM strategy, and tabbing. Tabbing actually becomes a little bit interesting here, since you can actually go ahead and select multiple instruments in each tab. So let's say you had a few that you're wanting to watch. So let me pull up a few instruments just using the instrument selector here. Instrument selector, again, I could kind of get sidetracked many times in this webinar going through little quality of life things. This instrument selector has been heavily upgraded. You've got the ability to see your commonly used instruments here along with your Forex instrument list here as well, and a little search button here which allows me to pull up the search and search for instruments inside of this box and allow me to quickly find instruments I'm looking for. We've done a lot of things there, and also all of our instrument selectors now you can type in. So again, quality of life things we've added, within NinjaTrader 7 to be able to pull up the Euro USD, for example, you had to remember to put a caret sign in the front of that to tell NinjaTrader that it was a Forex instrument. You're looking for Euro USD, the Forex instrument, not Euro USD, the stock. And with NinjaTrader 8, we've added some heuristics to the product, which says if you're putting in a currency code with 3 digits long on the trailing and ending side of the instrument, and you've got 6 letters there, we're going to parse that to a currency. So you no longer have to remember to put that caret sign in there. So you just got to plug in Euro USD, hit enter, you got Euro USD. We've also done some interesting things with our quantity selector. So as I scroll up and down here, you'll notice that the number's jumping. It's going 40, 50, 60, 70, okay? And the reason why it's doing that is within Forex, with the brokers we support, accounts have what's called an FX lot size. At least that's what we call it. And an FX lot size, depending on your broker, you can have a micro, a mini, or a standard Forex account. And if you've got, let's say, a micro account, you've got a lot lower balance in there. You're trying to trade a lot lower size, and you're really trading within thousands of quantity, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and you're seeing that smaller P&L difference. If you're on a mini account, then you're trading 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and that's the size of orders that you're going to be submitting. If you're on, and then same thing with standard, that's 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. That's the difference that you're doing. And with NinjaTrader 8, we've made it as smart as possible to, as you connect to your account, we're going to query what kind of account you got. So if you've got a mini account, a micro account, we're going to say, okay, you've got a mini account in this case, which is what my demo account is. And as I scroll up and down, it's going to know that and know that I want to trade within 10,000 quantity sizes. So as I scroll up and down, it's doing that automatically for me. Again, small quality of life things. And there's more to it on the quantity selector. Things like you can middle click now and get this kind of quick quantity selector, which you can actually configure. So you can customize quantity sizes in this drop down here. So you can easily select, I want a 100K order size, I want a 10K order size, and you can right click, hit the configure button, and we've got the configure menu here, and you can actually set your presets for both the quick and increment. So we've added both sides. So this is what's called our quick side. There's a little line separating here. These are going to just, as you click, it's going to quickly set that size. And then we've got the calculator side on the right hand side. As I hit plus 1,000, it's just going to add 1,000 to that number every time I click. So different use cases. Usually the calculator side is used more in the stock world, but really can be used anywhere. But you've got the options there to really kind of customize that. I'll go ahead and hit close and go down to my 10K lot size here. All right, and this account selector, same as you're used to. Pick the account you want to submit orders to, and again, ATM selector, which you're going to see this kind of same advanced ATM strategy selector on the majority of our order entry windows. And there's some interesting things here. You can actually like select it. I've got my 10 pip strategy here, and as soon as I select it, you can see as I hover over it, and this again just goes to interactivity. You know, as I hover over things, I get options on how to interact with them. And I've got this little edit toolbox here, and if I click edit, I've got my ATM strategy configuration tools here, where I can go ahead and configure this strategy. And we could do a whole webinar on ATM strategies. Maybe we will do that here shortly. But some key things, like we've added the ability to just kind of go crazy and add as many profit targets and stop losses as you want. You know, if you want to scale in or scale out of a strategy, we've added those functionalities. We've still got some of the more advanced functionality as well. You click this more button here. We've got things like reverse at stop, reverse at target. You can set up a target chase so that if the market comes close to hitting your target, you can kind of have your target chase it down. That way you're not, you know, you're willing to accept a little bit lower price, you know, as long as the market's not going to run away from your target and just kind of kiss a death you there. You can do a target chase. You know, we've got chase mode as well. These are for your entry orders. And you can also submit what's called a market if touched order. Market if touched order, interesting order. Think of it as a reverse limit order is really the way to think about it. So basically you're going to set a target of where the market wants to go, and then as soon as that target hits it, it's going to just instantly submit a market order at that price. Market if touched, definitely a cool feature. I've kind of played around with it a little bit. Stop limit for stop losses as well. They're generally not going to use that on Forex, since Forex we're typically working with just stop markets. All right, so ATM strategy selector, again, we've kind of made some real strides for consistency within the product. You're going to see a familiar experience from interface to interface. We've also got our P&L flat entry price here, and then the order grid on top of the FX board, and the ability to quickly switch between tabs. Just new workflows in NinjaTrader 8, see if they work great for you. If not, and you actually think the tabs, you're one instrument trader, you don't need tabs, no problem. Right-click, show tabs. You can uncheck that feature. It's going to turn off the tab, and then you kind of optimize your real estate to get rid of that tab, and you can bring it back just by turning that back on. All right, so FX board, FX Pro, a lot of little things we've added to just make the quality of life for people that will be trading Forex within NinjaTrader better. We're really interested to see what what FX traders are going to do with what we've built, and are interested in the feedback on what we're going to receive as to ways we can continue to improve that in future iterations of the product. Now, what I'd like to kind of talk about, and I wanted to kind of sneak these in here, this is supposed to be kind of centered on Forex, but I wanted to include some features and functionality that we've added in the market analyzer and chart as well, since they're actually my favorite. And so let's start with the market analyzer, since this has been a long requested feature on the team. And we've always had the ability within NinjaTrader inside of our market analyzer. And for those of you that may not be familiar with NinjaTrader 7, the market analyzer is just a grid view of instruments. It is tabbed now, so you can actually set up, so this is my Forex tab. I can go ahead and add another tab here, right-click, rename, make this my stocks. You know, if I had stock data, I can also do futures, and then just set up multiple tabs for each one of my use cases here. But for now, I've just got Forex data, and I can configure the columns to kind of view data that I'd like to see, and I do that by right-clicking on the market analyzer, and I've got a lot of features here. I'm going to come down here to columns, and as I do that, I'm going to get a dialog box here, which allows me to pick available columns, top left corner, and as I double click on them, they'll pop into the configured list down below. And I've already got some configured instruments here, or columns I should say, and we've got a few interesting columns. We've got indicator columns here, so as I go to the available section up here, scroll down, there's what's called an indicator column, which as I double click to add a new one, I can now select any indicator within the product. We've still got our existing huge list of kind of default indicators that are included with the product, and you can select any of these indicators. I've added a few already, so I've added some ADX, 14 ADX on a 1 minute series. I've got just a basic SMA on a 1 minute series, and a 21 period SMA and a 14 period SMA here. And so with NinjaTrader 7, you could set up alerts on these columns. So you could set up what I'll call a basic alert, the ability to say if let's say on this ADX column here, there's a value here on, let's go Euro USD, there's a value here of 29.15. So if I wanted to set up an alert to alert me when that value goes above 30, I could do that in NinjaTrader 7. I would right click on the column, go into the configuration for an alert, and set up a value for greater than 30. That works great for setting up kind of static alert conditions. So a value above or below 0, above and below 30. What we didn't have the ability to do is set up kind of these dynamic alert conditions. So a dynamic alert condition I've got demoed here with an SMA, a 14 period SMA and a 21 period SMA. I've got two columns here, and I might want to be alerted when the 14 period SMA crosses above the 21 period SMA. And I can totally do that now with NinjaTrader 8 by just right clicking. We've got a totally new alerts window here. So as I select alerts, I'll get my alerts configuration. And I've already got one configured. If I go to SMA cross above alert here, I can add alerts in the bottom left-hand corner. So let me just add a new one here. So I give it a name. We'll call it SMA crossover. Apply to, it's going to apply to all instruments. Rearm type, we're going to do never on this one. But we have various options such as on bar close. Let's say you want this alert to fire and then not fire again till the bar closes. You can do that. And then you've got a conditions section here where you've got a if all of the following conditions are met, or if any of the following conditions are met. This is kind of an and or condition here where you can set up multiple conditions in this box by selecting the add button. So as I select add, I've got various conditions here, and I've got a left side, and I've got a right side, and I've got a middle. And so the middle is the conditional operator. This is where I can say I want it to cross above, cross below, equals, greater, greater equal, less, less equal, not equal. And what I can do is select any column that I have on my market analyzer. So I've got a 14 period SMA on 1 minute data, so we're going to grab that column here. We have some properties down below. We're not going to do anything with that today, but you can do offsets. So if you wanted to say 5 ticks above that SMA, you want an alert, as it's approaching that SMA value, you could do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and select the middle section here, and I'm going to say cross above. And then I'm going to select the 21 SMA column here. And so what I've basically done is set up a condition which is dynamic based on 2 columns in the market analyzer, and I'm going to get an alert when the 14 period SMA crosses above the 21 period SMA. And if I click OK, I've got that condition created. I've got some additional alert properties here which I can configure, and I've got some action properties here where I've got some alerts will always trigger in what's called the alerts log. I'll show you that here in a second. But you can also do additional things with an alert now, such as play a sound, share a message, show a pop-up dialog, and even submit an order. Submit an order is actually an interesting one. We threw that one in there just to see how much traction it's going to get. we could actually see our customers building some basic automated trading strategies without any programming skills necessary. You just kind of set up a basic condition with the condition builder, and then you could trigger the submit order method here as well. It's kind of a quasi-simple way of creating a strategy, which is kind of interesting. And there's can be more we can add to here as well based on user demand. This is kind of, we're starting out with alerts and what we can do with them. We're learning as we learn what you want to do with them. So we're actually kind of interested to see what's going to happen there. And I had cancel there since I don't want to actually configure this alert. I'm going to click remove and I'm going to click cancel. And then I already had an alert running, and if I go to new up in the control center, this is how I pull up all the various windows within NinjaTrader, which for those of you that are not familiar with NinjaTrader, I encourage you to explore and kind of go through the various options and functionality available to you. But we've got one here called the alerts log. Alerts log is very similar to the alerts window inside of NinjaTrader, and as I pull it up here, there are some key differences with the alerts log here, and versus what we saw with the alerts window in NinjaTrader 7. And one of those differences is I've actually had this alert running earlier today, and I've turned it off. And it's kept a history of that alerts that have triggered since I've started the application. And so I've got all my alerts triggered. You can see here 1:58 p.m., 2:08 p.m. And I've got various alerts crossing over. Here's my crossover condition alert, which I set up earlier. And I can see all these all in my alerts log. So if you're in a workspace or you're working with alerts, you might keep this window open at all times on your workspace so you can kind of see what's going on. You can even link this window, again, using the instrument link. So as you click on one of these alerts, so as I go ahead and hit this to red here, I can click on an alert and it will show me right to the instrument that had that alert triggered. And you can actually come in here and right-click on the alerts log. You've got various filters that you can do. So let's say you wanted to have an alerts log just for futures. You can do that, and then you can actually have multiple tabs. So let's say you wanted this one here, you wanted to do an instrument types. You didn't want them to have Forex instrument in this alerts log, but in this one you wanted Forex alerts. So then you right-click on this tab, go rename. We'll call this Forex alerts. Hit OK. And now I've kind of tabbed it out and separated it out so that my various alerts are shown in various tabs. You can also break that out, move it to a new window if you'd like, pull it across. And then you can kind of configure these alerts so that you can do it by priority as well, source. You got the ability to send to. This is a feature where you can quickly get to a basic entry window on this instrument or quickly get to a chart if you didn't already have one open. And then you've got the ability to select clear. And clear will clear out all the alerts in this window. So as I click clear here, you can see this window, it just kind of cleared all the fired alerts in that window. So I've got more robust alert management within NinjaTrader 8. So as I'm creating these kind of dynamic alerts, which I can do in the market analyzer, and I can also do in charts, which is actually pretty interesting. So if I right-click on a chart, I'm going to have the same alerts window here that I had on Market Analyzer. I can click alerts here. I can configure another new alert, add a condition just like I did on the Market Analyzer. I can come down here to indicators. I can see the two SMA indicators I have on my chart. I can select my 14 period, my 21 period, cross above, and again I've got another SMA crossover alert set up in my chart. So you definitely have the flexibility to do it in both windows. If you're kind of targeting a single instrument and you're going to have that chart open at all times, you can do it within a chart. If you're wanting to target many things in one kind of alert setup, you're going to do that in a market analyzer, and that way you can toggle it based on any instrument in that market analyzer. So definitely two ways to configure alerts, and definitely give you the flexibility to set up those alerts. And for those of you that may not have the ability to stay glued to a screen or want to set up alerts, what's interesting is we even have the ability If we right-click and go Alerts, down here I can set up an action by clicking on the Add button here. And there's even an option here where you can share a message. And share a message is based on what's called share services. And right now I don't have any share services set up, but you can come in here to Tools, Options. Under General here, we've got Share Services, 0 share services here. And if I click here to add a share service, we've introduced sharing in the product. And we've got the ability to set up emails, stock tweets, Twitters, and Facebook shares. So what you can do is, if you want to set up your email sharing service, so what you're going to do is click email here, double click, you're going to set up your email server, same as you would do with setting up any kind of email client, and you would plug in your email address, username, password, send a test email. You configure your email account here. Once you do that, you then can set up the alert to then trigger an action to send a mail to that email address. So as you set up an action, share a message, you can go ahead and select that share service, and it's going to send a message to that email address. And you can definitely get creative with that. You know, some interesting ideas are maybe setting up a personal Twitter account and then sending your signals to a Twitter account, which maybe only you know, and then you kind of have a Twitter app on your phone, and you can kind of check your Twitter page on alerts that have been firing. I mean, there's some interesting things you can do there. You can also use it in a social aspect, so definitely interested to see what you guys are going to do with that. So alerts, wanted to sneak that in there, definitely an interesting, cool feature we've added to NinjaTrader 8. Like I said, we've also got the ability to do it on charts. And one additional thing, I know I'm kind of coming close up to an hour here, so I'm going to have to start wrapping this up pretty quick. We definitely appreciate your time and ability to run through some of the new features within the product. But one of the things that I find actually most interesting is the ability to attach orders to indicators. So this is something that's new with NinjaTrader 8. It's a new concept, and it's one of our kind of most hotly demanded features as well, which is the ability to take this SMA or take whatever, I'm just using SMA as an example, and say I want my stop loss to follow below, right behind this ATM, or right behind this stop loss, right below behind this SMA. And you can do that now within NinjaTrader. So let me show you how you kind of get that done. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just submit an order. So I'm going to right-click on my chart, and to be able to do this, for those of you guys that may not be familiar with NinjaTrader, you need to turn on the chart trader. So this is this icon up here in our toolbar, up here in the caption bar, and you can select chart trader, and I've got it enabled here so I can see my chart trader. And as I do that, I have the ability to submit orders and see my position through my chart. So as I right-click on the chart, I've got the ability here to now submit orders from the chart. So I'm going to go ahead and click this sell limit. And as I do that, I'm going to have an order flag here at the price that I selected. Again, for those of you that may not, this is your first time seeing the chart trader, you can actually, it's a full order interface. You can do all your trading through chart trader if you desire to do that. You can move orders around by clicking and clicking to move orders around, hit the X to cancel it, and even see any positions you might have. So if I do a buy market here, you can see I'm here at this average price, and I've got this P&L here, and I'm being filled here since this is a bid chart, so the ask price is actually about here. So as I hit close here, back to flat, I'm going to go ahead and select up here. I'm going to hit sell limit again just to have a working order in the market. And markets are kind of slowing down right now, not doing much action. I may come down here and move this, and it may fill right away. We'll see. Looks like our ask price on, let's go Euro USD. Let's switch over to that actually. Let's go Euro USD. Yeah, that looks a little better. Let's go right click, and let's do a buy limit. This time I'm doing a buy order on the downside of the market here. And what I want to do is, let's say I want to kind of move this order in sync with this indicator value here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete one of these indicator values here, just for simplicity here. And I'm going to click on this order here, and you can see as I click that, I get this shadow of where I'm going to move it to. And you can see I just kind of move it around. And I have the freedom to pick any point I want, but what I want to really do is attach it to this SMA. So what I'm going to do is hold down the control button on my keyboard. And you see as soon as I do that, I'm going to get this attach kind of ghosting here. And this attach is snapping to the closest indicator to my mouse. So right now it's attaching itself to the SMA indicator on this chart. And I would now left click on attach to say, yep, that's the SMA that I want to attach to. You can see here I've got the attached indicator properties here, which says, yep, here's my indicator I selected. I can now select an offset, and I also have a feature here called modify toward last price only. And so this is really kind of for the stop loss use case, where you want to only have a stop move tighter, not kind of looser as the indicator kind of widens out or drops back down. You only want to move the order tighter to price, then you would check mark that option. But if you want it to follow the indicator as it goes up, follow the indicator as it goes down, then you leave that unchecked. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way here. I'm going to click OK. And as soon as I do that, the order instantly snapped right up to that price. And right now you've got an order following an indicator. And as this indicator will move up through and down through different prices, this order will just follow right along. And so that's really kind of an interesting new feature. You can use this in combination with ATM stops and profit targets as well. So you can kind of get creative with it and see how that might help you in your trading. Wanted to take a few minutes to show you that feature as well. We've got a lot of interesting things we can show within the product, but we've really only got an hour of time. So I'm going to go ahead and close the webinar off there with the feature demonstration portion of the webinar. I'm sure there is probably some questions in the room. So Terry, if you're still there, I understand that you wanted to go through some of those questions in a kind of a Q&A session?
Yes, I'll start going through them here.
Oh, sure. Great. Thank you, Terry.
Do you have a ballpark release date for NT8?
Yeah, good question. So I covered a little bit about that in the beginning of the webinar, and so we really kind of take our responsibility to have a production release in NinjaTrader very seriously and have a stable product. So it's really, I hate to say it, ready when it's ready. We're getting closer, but we're just not there yet. So I don't have any kind of expected release date yet, but we are making progress. We are getting there. Again, this is a major rewrite of the product. This is our next generation software, so we're just taking some extra time to make sure we get it right.
Okay, another question is, my understanding is NT8 and NT7 are completely separate, and you can actually run them at the same time. Someone's wondering if they download the beta, it's not going to affect their current NT7.
Yeah, I'm glad you actually asked that, because that's important to note, is that you guys can download the NinjaTrader 8 beta while it's in beta. Feel free to check it out without fear of messing up your NinjaTrader 7 install or not being able to have them both installed at the same time. You're going to always be able to go back to NinjaTrader 7 and use that for your day-to-day trading, and still check out kind of the new stuff inside of NinjaTrader 8. Absolutely.
Okay, another question. Do you have an idea of how long NT7 will be supported once NT8 is available?
Yeah, we definitely have an idea, meaning that there is no plans to de-support NinjaTrader 7. We'll continue to support NinjaTrader 7 as long as we have a large user base using it, and there's no plans to de-support it at this time.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, now these questions are actually on the platform itself. Can you take some of the tiles and make more room for charts? Also, can we use two screens and put the charts on the second screen?
So as far as the first question, can you kind of make more room? So yeah, you can definitely resize this window, and it's going to just retile the tiles into whatever size you want. So if you wanted to configure this to have one row of tiles, turn
Okay.
off the order grid here, and just have a tile configuration on your left-hand side with a huge chart on the right-hand side. You absolutely could do that and just configure it however you like. You can also right-click, go Properties here, and select the tile size. So if you're looking for more real estate, you can cut down to the small size here. So as I do that, all these tiles will kind of shrink up, and you can then just kind of get more real estate. And so definitely you can, so to answer the first question, you can resize the FX board in whatever configuration you like. And with NinjaTrader product as well, you can use and throw any chart on any screen that you like.
Okay.
So the workspaces, that's one of the keystones of our NinjaTrader product, is each one of our windows is really a free-floating window. So you can position it anywhere on your desktop that you like, and then what you're going to do is use the workspace option here. You're going to be asked as you close NinjaTrader as well. So as you shut down NinjaTrader using the X in the top right-hand corner, it's going to ask you to save your workspace, which as I hover over default Forex here, which is highlighted green, meaning it's open, I can click Save. So now as I restart NinjaTrader, it's going to remember all the positions of all my windows on all my screens. So I just have to go through the pain of setting it up once.
Okay, good. Let's see. Can you add an ATM to an open order?
Can you add an ATM to an open order? We did add that in NinjaTrader 8. That was a demanded feature by our user base. That's actually an interesting problem to solve, and definitely a corner case, because you're definitely doing it where it's like, oh man, I forgot to select that ATM strategy before I submitted that entry order, and you want to put it on after the fact. And so in those cases where you run into that, you're going to come over here to the positions grid on the control center. And let me go ahead and enter a position here. Let me just, without an ATM strategy, so let me buy a market here. So I've got a long 50K position here. I'm going to right click, and in this new right click, I've got the apply ATM strategy here, and then I can select any predefined ATM strategy here. So as I select 10 pip or quick profit plus runner, it's going to then apply that ATM strategy. So we definitely did add that. Look for it in the positions grid in the control center.
Perfect. Okay, let's see. This person says the Ninja 8 DOM shows pipettes, the Ninja 7 DOM shows pips. The Ninja 8 DOM is hard to use because of it and takes up space. Is there a way to get the Ninja 7 DOM, I guess, into Ninja 8, only showing pips?
Good question. So with NinjaTrader 7, we actually had all three modes, meaning you had the ability to select whether you did 10th pip, half pip, or full pip in your display of Forex pricing. And it turns out that actually is hard to explain and cumbersome to use, and you got to have the right setting to make sure you're not getting yourself in trouble on whatever provider you're on. Long story short, we wanted to make NinjaTrader 8 consistent, and we wanted to support a single most granular pip value, which is the 10th pip display mode. So with NinjaTrader 8, we've made it consistent. Everything in Forex will display in 10th pip. There is no quote Forex in option anymore. So we've made it standard so that everything will show the sub pip value on all your pricing, and that includes the Superdome. And the Superdome is really meant for and built for really futures trading. It's really not optimized to be used with Forex trading, and there's lots of things we looked into to try to make the Superdome more conducive to Forex trading. And the real root problems comes into the fact that Forex generally has a larger spread. So you're seeing the bid and ask is usually 20 20 ticks or 2 pips wide. And so if it's 20 ticks, you're seeing a 20 tick spread, which makes the DOM hard to use. And there's some interesting things we can try to do with the DOM to make it more usable in Forex, but with such as trying to minimize that area between the bid and ask. However, we opted not to do that with NinjaTrader 8 for now and have our dedicated FX board, FX Pro entry windows, which are really built for Forex. And so the answer is no, there is no way to really shrink up that bid and ask on the DOMs to make it more conducive to Forex trading. And again, there's many reasons for that, but mainly it's because level 2 data as well is getting more scarce in the Forex brokerages that we support. So you usually don't even have level 2 data to populate a super DOM as well. So so that's the reason why we do not have that option in NinjaTrader 8.
Okay. Where does an OCO order reside? The FXCM servers or my PC?
Okay, yeah, good question. So this depends on the brokerage you're going to use. Now, we're doing this presentation as a platform company where we support the connectivity to connect to multiple brokerages and brokerage technologies, and we have the ability to connect interactive brokers for Forex trading, Gain for Forex trading, FXCM for Forex trading. And where your orders reside depend on the technology choice and brokerage choice you're going to be using. So what I would do is usher you to contact as to what your specific brokerage connection supports. Just throw that in an email. Our guys are really responsive on the platform support team. That's platformsupport@ninjatrader.com. Usually you're getting a reply within 15 minutes or so, usually sometimes even less. And just throw in a quick reply, hey, you know, I'm using this feed, where do my orders reside? You're going to get that information directly to you specific to what you're using. With FXCM, the question mentioned FXCM. OCO, I would have to double check where that resides, so I don't know off the top of my head. But that's why I mentioned platformsupport@ninjatrader.com. They'll get you that answer right away.
Okay. How much is each full pip worth in a standard account?
Okay, so the question is, how much does each pip worth in a standard account?
Each full
pip. Each full pip in a standard account. Okay.
Yes.
So a pip, we can even just demo that right now. Let me see. We can do so in a standard account. That's going to be 100K quantity size. So I've increased my quantity selector to 100K here. I'm going to go ahead and remove my ATM strategy. I'm going to do buy market here. And you can see up here in the control center here, I've got a currency profit and loss here. And I'm sitting at about 4.9 pips of loss here, with the spread being 4.8 right now. And that's equating to, let's see, this is about $70 in P&L loss for US dollar. So the rule of thumb is if you're trading, definitely talk to your broker as to what quantity sizes you're going to be using and what P&L you'll be using. But generally, you're going to see either $10, $1, or 10 cents per pip P&L loss, or P&L variation depending on the size you're using and the Forex size, account size you'll be having.
Okay. Let's see. What is the difference between flat and close buttons on the chart trader?
So I'm looking at the chart trader right now. On my chart, I've got a close and I see. So you're seeing the flat here. So as I go ahead and hit buy market here, we'll make sure no ATM strategy. You're going to see that that flat now shows 10K position. So this actually, as I hover my tooltip over, it says displays current position. So when it's saying flat, that's actually saying I'm flat that account. And the close button here is a mechanic within NinjaTrader where we'll actually take whatever action is needed on the selected account and instrument to get you back to flat. What it will also do is close any or cancel any open orders as well. So as I hit the close button here, it's basically saying I'm done, get me out, and now I'm back to flat. And so we've got flat, entry, and P&L, which all show statistics as to how well you are or not doing in your trade, what your entry price is, what position you're at. And you've also got some options here. I've got it set to display in pips, which again is another quality of life thing. If you double click this this value here, it's going to change modes. So here's points, or here's rather points. Here's currency, and then we've got percent, and then back to pips. So it'll just keep rotating around. So whatever way you want to see your profit and loss, you can definitely show that in any of our UIs. So you can do that here on the FX board as well. So if you want to see it, in points, in currency, etc. And while we're talking about profit and loss, I forgot to mention this. Profit and loss in Forex is interesting since you're really working with multiple currencies and you want to see a profit and loss in in a base currency. You want to see, I want to see how much I'm losing right now in US dollar. And to do that, you need to do a currency conversion to really see what your P&L is in your kind of native base currency. And with NinjaTrader 7, we had the ability to do that. However, you had to make sure that you had a market analyzer open with all the common instruments like I have in this workspace running with market data to be able to do the currency conversion. NinjaTrader 8, it's really simple. We'll make the subscription automatically, get the market data automatically as needed to do the currency conversion. So a lot of things you can't see under the hood that really help with the quality of life and making sure that you really just get accurate data that you're looking for and the experience you're looking for.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see. Can you send alerts via text to your phone?
Good question. Right now you can set up email services and Twitter services to send those alerts to email and Twitter, and that we have several others as well. We don't out of the box have an SMS provider. Those are kind of challenging to find. You got to find one that either costs money or things like that. But kind of a hack around that, what I do anyways, is there's various email services out there that as you send an email to a box that you create, it will automatically send an SMS message with the contents of that email. I think Verizon cell phone company even does this with some of its services. So that's what I do, is I just set up that email service, I send it over through email, and then it will just automatically send it over as an SMS message.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think AT&T, Verizon, and a few others, if you can find the email address for your phone number, you can send an email via text message that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, let's see. NT8 will require more space and memory than NT7.
Yeah, absolutely correct. As we're working on a new technology stack and we've added new functionality, and we're now doing things more dynamically, layouts done dynamically, more graphics, more features, things in the programming industry, file sizes get bigger. It's just the reality of it, and it's not to say that that's necessarily a bad thing, since computers have grown in what capability they have and then some. So it's definitely just it's a balancing act, using the right amount of resources for what you're doing, and so the answer is yes. However, it's expected and within reason.
And I'm sure you optimize the platform to run as smoothly as possible.
And that's part of this beta process as well. I mean, we're really trying to optimize as much things as we can as we run through it and get feedback from our customers. And really the most important thing is to getting us out of beta and get to a production release is for anybody that's in this room kind of going through this webinar that have the time and the ability to even download the beta, check it out, see what new features are around. We definitely value the participation of our customers in our beta forum, and definitely would appreciate any feedback you guys have. We take it to heart on the product management team and see everything that comes in. So definitely looking forward to that feedback as well.
Great. Let's see. Can you run 8 and 7 at the same time with the same data?
So At the same time part, yes. With the same data part, depends on your provider. A lot of places will only let you connect once with a single username and password.
Okay.
So you're going to have to check with your broker.
Will you be able to create an index based on X amount of symbols? An example would be the 7 major pairs that make the USD. The user would be able to plot the index and apply indicators to it.
Good question. So what you're talking about is kind of the synthetic instrument concept and that kind of thing, and even spreading to some degree. We don't have that functionality within NinjaTrader. It's not within the near-term plan either. So the answer is no.
Okay. If they already have an NT7 lifetime license, will they be entitled to download NT8 at no extra cost when it's released full?
Yeah, absolutely. At this time, there's no increase in charge planned for NinjaTrader 8. So absolutely.
Okay, will all of my custom-built indicators and programs built for NT7 transfer to NT8?
So as we do with kind of the major releases, this is a huge generational shift for us where we, like I said, rebuilt the product on a new technology stack. And so there is some changes that need to be made, modifications that need to be made for NinjaScript that's built in NinjaTrader 7 to be moved to NinjaTrader 8. Now, the majority of time, these are just small little changes. For those of you that are actually developers, these are things like maybe a method rename. We've done, again, consistency was a large focus of NinjaTrader 8. You know, making sure we use the same terminology in programming keywords that we use and methods and functions, and so we've made things more consistent, renamed some things, moved some things around for an upgraded, and really that's the gist of it for most indicators and strategies out there. It's just going to be you copy it over, you're going to throw it in the compiler, you're going to hit compile, you're going to need to, it's going to tell you what you need to fix, you're going to move X to Y, A to B, and then it's going to compile. There is also an extensive help guide page in our help guide that's really built to help people move their indicators and strategies over from NinjaTrader 7 and 8. We've built a dynamic table that you can actually, and let me see if I can actually pull it up here with our help guide here. So what I'm doing is just pulling up the help guide here. So I'm going to help on the NinjaTrader website, going down to platform help guides, NinjaTrader 8, and I'm going over here to NinjaScript, expanding that, and there's a section here called code breaking changes. And so as I increase that in size, everything here, here's the NT7 version, here's the NT8 version. And so there's these various changes that you need to run through. It's all in the table, so you can kind of filter based on what you run into. Again, this is just from a developer's perspective. Now, from the non-developer's perspective, let's say you bought an indicator or strategy from a third-party vendor or from a friend, and you rely on it in NinjaTrader 7 and you want to use it in NinjaTrader 8. So we're working with all of our third-party vendors now and to get them to move over their code over in NinjaTrader 8. It'll be a process where we'll go through that. As we get to a production release, I anticipate much, if not most of the providers out there will have upgraded code that you then could just go to them and say, hey, I want an NinjaTrader 8 version. So we're just kind of getting through that process. It's going to take some time for those third-party vendors to get their code moved over, and then you'll be able to use those indicator and strategy packages within NinjaTrader 8. And NinjaTrader 8, for those of you that are on the developer side, definitely check out some of the interesting things we're doing in regards to our enhanced NinjaScript support, the ability to create your own custom windows, your own custom functionality that can even plug into our existing windows. You know, you want to add a hotbar on the side of this chart window. You know, we have examples and samples on how to do that now. So opportunity is abound in NinjaTrader 8 for many new creations that can be done within the product, and our goal really is to be the new development environment, meaning you're going to see everything in NinjaTrader 8. You're going to see all the latest and greatest stuff coming in NinjaTrader 8. It's going to be just the platform that you should be able to find everything on, and that's really our goal.
Okay, I posted the link to the code break-in help page on the FIO thread for the NT8 major announcements list. So if you having trouble finding it, you can go to the FIO website and find a link on that thread.
Thanks for doing that, Terry.
Can we download NT8 and use your Ninja simulated feed so that we can learn the platform now? And he's talking about the Forex simulated feed.
Yeah, we've got a couple of options. One, we have a truly kind of simulated feed, so if you're really just wanting to learn the product, don't care about if the data is real time. As you download the NinjaTrader and connect here, we've got what's called a simulated data feed, and this is just fake, randomly generated data. It'll just come right into the product. You can actually test some things out, try to figure out how ATMs work, all that kind of stuff. That's really what the simulated data feed's for. But if what you're really looking for is the ability to kind of get some real-time data in and play around with the product in a real type of sense with simulated trading, you absolutely can do that as well, and that's going to be definitely can set up any of the demos that we have that we support, and you'll be prompted to get a FXCM demo as you download the product on NinjaTrader.com as well. So just plug in your username, or your email address there, and you'll get sent an email with access credentials.
Okay, I know with futures data, there's usually like a limit of how many demo accounts you can get. Is there any kind of limitation like that with the Forex data?
That would be a question more on the brokerage side, which I just can't answer at the moment since I'm more on the platform side.
Okay. There are no more questions in the board. If you have any questions, go ahead and answer them. If not, then we will close up the webinar. Okay. Doesn't look like there's any more questions at the moment. Can you post, or can you pull up a thing to where they can contact y'all if they're viewing the webinar later? I guess like your support email or something.
Yeah, sure. Basically, let me pull it up here. I'll just do a new text document. So that's going to be platform support at NinjaTrader.com for any platform questions. Make that a little bigger. And then if you want to reach out to me, again, my name is Brett Barrett. If you put attention Brett on any mail to platform support at NinjaTrader.com, you can even do attention Matthew, who's also on the product management team, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about the webinar.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for your time today. Looks very interesting. Cool to see some Forex things happening. That's it. I'll go ahead and turn the webinar off.